Alright, hello Riven mains and Yasuo mains alike, Way of Life Esports. I am the Nightwing, coming at you guys with another League of Legends video. This is actually supposed to be an extra video for you guys today, as I'm going to be talking about the LCK and LPL gauntlet that took place these last weeks, leading up to the 2019 World Championships. A lot of teams are already locked for Worlds. It's just time to find out who's going to be the last teams locked for Worlds. And it just seems that we have all of these problems leading in with TSM, and it's just something that has panned away with this organization and League of Legends for so many years. And I think this year is the bigger apparent as to a reason why their organization has gone through some structural changes in the LCS scene in general. Now, there are so many things that I could potentially cover in this video, but I'm going to save some for the League It To Me podcast, which is going to be returning this week actually. But I'm going to give a surface level analysis on all of this stuff from a viewer's perspective, and there's certain things that I'll say or that you might not agree with, and that's just how this type of video works. I'm gonna say things. I'm gonna be 100% honest with everything I'm gonna say. I don't know what's going on the inside. I just have to say that because someone's gonna be like, well, you don't know what's going on the inside of TSM. Obviously, Mr. Smartass, we tell me something more obvious, but it's just like, it's that one little stupid comment people make that's like, oh, he's pro player, he's better than you. No shit, Sherlock. Oh my god. But let's see what we can actually break down. And so someone had actually asked me in a comments yesterday of, what do I think about Bjergsen? So let's just tackle Bjergsen before I tackle the other issues. Is like, do you think Bjergsen would leave 100 Thieves? The issue with Bjergsen leaving 100 Thieves is not as cookie cutter as a lot of people might want to make it out to be. It's actually a lot more difficult than what most people would make it more seem, because if you guys don't remember, in 2015, Reckless was on Alliance in the spring split for 2015. This is when Fnatic had Steelback and they won the split and they went to MSI. With that being said, Bjergsen could basically, similarly go through the same harsh criticisms that Reckless took when he left his main organization to play for another one. With that being said, that means that he's going to take massive fan backlash for leaving TSM after so long. Even though he did win trophies for TSM, he won pretty much every single trophy they had up until the franchise era of the LCS for Bjergsen. I think that he's an exceptional player despite this year not being the best to him toward the very end of the spring split. I think that when you look at everything that he's done for TSM, even though in the moment, if he did announce that he would, basically leave the team, I think that he would think about the fan reaction more than his own personal gain. And you have to kind of factor in organizational standpoints. Is a 100 Thieves a better org than TSM? Then you also have to factor that in vice versa. 100 Thieves has made a final, they made Worlds, so they have had some type of aspirations for the world stage. We've always seen Bjergsen is very outspoken in interviews, whether they be online or in person, that he is very wanting to have success internationally is something that he's always strived for. And I think TSM, in my own personal opinion, is just not the org for him anymore. I feel like it's time that he's basically gotten to a point in his career where he just needs to change his team. And I don't want to say that and be the dude that's saying that just because other people are saying it. I think this is one of the rare times that the fans are right. And I'm not going to give the fans that are usually pretty toxic too much credit, but I really do feel like a change in scenery is good for him. I really do feel like at this point in time, after everything that's gone on with TSM, from the double up period to the Lust Boy Wild Turtle period to the period where you go with the 2018 roster with Mike Young. There's so many things that he's gone through with TSM that I feel like at a certain point, enough is enough. Let's just try it at a different angle with TSM. Let's just feel about going to a different organization just to see what it would be like, because you factor in if he stays here for the next 2 years, and I'm asking you guys, you TSM fans, a serious question here. Do you honestly feel like he could win more titles? Because let's be completely honest with ourselves here. Ever since franchising has existed in North America, TSM has been to one final and has won no titles. Every one of their titles comes from pre-franchising. That's just the facts. As of right now, at the time of me recording this video, that's how it's been. And they have not seemed to have adjusted to franchising at all. And this comes with the mindset of the old guard leaving and taking over for new teams. Cloud9 and TL obviously have structured themselves in a way that have made them still the older guys. And TL were never looked at like that back in the day. TL were the 4th place team, always could maybe get in there if their players overperformed. They were at relegations at one point, but Steve has finally cracked the code in League and got TL to be at the top of the league with Cloud9 in that conversation. And remember, when people came in talking about TSM this year, it was TSM, Cloud9, TL as the top 3. And if we're looking back at it and translating that all back as we go back, that all relevated back to Bjergsen being a superstar mid laner. Actually, he's really good in general. So I feel like for him, better mentally than they keep building rosters around him. Just how about go to another team? I think that people are going to be like, well, why? It's pretty obvious it's not working out here. Like, the definition of insanity is not really what crazy people are. It's trying the same thing over and over, expecting different results. How many rosters have we built around Bjergsen? Come on, guys. Like, be honest be completely 100% honest with yourselves. It's not working out with him. But I think fans per se wouldn't be necessarily mad that he's leaving. It would just be like, who can fill Bjergsen's shoes? That is the bigger part right there. Is like, who are you going to put in to fill Bjergsen's shoes? Because after all the splits, after all the trophies, after all the worlds, who can fill his shoes? I mean, did he really do anything at any of the worlds he did go to? Did he really perform that well at any of those worlds that he went to? The only world championship that I ever saw him play at the most competitive level that I've ever seen him play was at the Season 5 World Championship, where basically, TSM's not getting out of the group, as they had Dyra, Santorin, Lustboy, and Wild Turtle. We know they weren't getting out of that group. I even said they're going to win one game, possibly against any team. They're going to just possibly make that one game, and it's going to be that point. Bjergsen has not played at that level that he's played at North America on the world stage, and people like to criticize Jensen. And it's like baffling. Like, if you mention just that Jensen's been better than Bjergsen, people get up in arms out of their mind. Like, guys, be completely 100% honest with yourself. Jensen has been playing better, and he's been better for the longest time. The reason why Jensen doesn't get the spotlight is because the whole narrative is focused around Bjergsen, and that is the key here to what I'm trying to say about the Bjergsen point. Is a change in scenery, I feel like, will revitalize him. I feel like that the org and him have just basically completely split their ideals on what is going on. If he stays for another year, I'm giving up on this dude. I can't, in well and good conscience, have any faith in him anymore. If he wants to stick here on this organization that's clearly cut 3 junglers in the last clearly like almost 8 months. So yeah, I don't think it's his fault the junglers turn into wards. That, I know that's a meme. I don't think that's a problem with him. He doesn't literally type in alt chat, hey, you're my ward now, bitch. I don't think he does that. But I feel like that from a Bjergsen standpoint, I think it's about time you guys part ways. It's been since 2013, 2014. 2014 spring is when he came in. I think it's about time you guys split ways. It's been 5 years. Hey, you had a good run, but I feel like it's time for you to, cut your losses with Bjergsen, because I feel like that for his own mental health with Bjergsen, I feel like that it's good enough for people to split. Now, this is all just hypothetical right now, and talking about in terms of what TSM could do to improve. I feel like that he could stay. That's the most likely scenario, is that stay. I don't think a super team would drive Bjergsen. Remember, people need to factor in with super teams. You have no idea how those specific rosters perform. You have no idea how those specific rosters are going to function. So realistically, he probably is just going to stay with TSM. And if we're all being honest with ourselves, and if we're thinking logically, he's going to stay with TSM. They're going to build another roster around him with superstars, and we're going to see how it unfolds for next year, in the year of 2020. TSM has now missed out on 2 Worlds, 2018 and now 2019. They got reverse swept twice this year, TL and Clutch of all teams. Now, let's go with talking about the other layers that factor in. That's going to be talking about the players. The players themselves are going to be, I'm mentioning, it's not really per se their fault. Like, I don't think it's Beaker's fault. I'm not going to mention him at all. He's really irrelevant at the moment. Not saying he himself is irrelevant. I'm saying that in terms of the situation, he's not going to really matter, because I feel like that he's going to just be replaced anyway, because that's just how they do junglers, and we've seen it at this current point in time. Broken Blade looked really good in spring. I thought he looked to me like a top 3 top laner still in North America, but obviously from the gauntlet he did not look that. He looked like a bottom tier top laner. I don't know how that even is fathomably possible. Looking at Sven, I feel like he's done. I feel like he's just going to go back to EU, and someone's going to ask me why. I feel like that's going to be the case. He's going to go back to EU because he had no success on TSM. Sven is a player all about the success, and obviously he did not find any of it with 2 years on TSM. What is the core reason to stay at this point, other than if he just honestly likes living in North America and just liking being on TSM? I don't even know why there's a reason for him to stay anymore. You also have to factor in Smoothie. Now, my boy Smoothie, I hate to see him cry, man. I hate to see him sad. He's an old Cloud9 support. I love that boy, man. He was a really good support for a very long time. Never got that MVP honors that I feel like he deserved. He was a really great support, a truly honest, amazing man. I even talked to him at the LCS, man. I just hate to see him sad. I feel like it's nothing he's doing is probably getting heard. He's a shot caller by voice. He didn't want to be the main shot caller on Cloud9, obviously, because of that leads a lot of pressure onto him. But when you bring in a shot calling support, and then this is what I said at the beginning of the year when we did those power rankings with Dr. Manhattan, and when JTH, when we did our big power rankings, I said TSM. I don't know why they bring in shot caller supports if you do not listen to them, because a main voice of reason on the team is something I feel like they've lacked for a very, very long time. And that's just kind of all the players at the moment. I know people are going to want me to touch on the Acadian situation. There's nothing really much to touch about the Acadian situation other than what's already been basically said. But I can give my slight 2 cents on it. Now, I don't know why specifically that they chose to run with Acadian when they did. Nobody really knows the exact reason. Some people speculated it was a girl situation. People speculated it was a synergy issue with Sven and Acadian. Looking back at the games themselves, it did feel like, Sven played better with Greg. That's just kind of how it felt during the game. Like, it felt like that things flowed better when Greg was playing, and it flowed worse when Acadian was playing. That's what kind of always felt personally to me. But now we're going to look at Acadian. Now, the issue with Acadian is far in between. I think that they've permanently damaged his career to potentially play on any other teams. They're going to look at this and they're going to go, oh my god, what the hell happened? And then, oh man, it turned out to be a really bad situation when it really boils down to Acadian on the issues that have happened with him. I think that his overall treatment wasn't that good. Yes, I understand they did let him play with the academy team, but I mean, nice consolation prize right there, throwing him into the deep end as well. So he'll fail. So he's gonna fail TSM. Good one there. Yeah, I feel bad for him. I feel like that he's gonna have to mentally reset somehow after this year on TSM. I feel like Acadian, from his spring split performance, showed he can be a top tier jungler, but at last we'll have to see if he can have his career back, because it really just feel like it just was not in the cards this year for him. Last thing I'll touch on specifically in this video and then save the rest for a podcast is TSM's coaching staff. So people don't really talk about this too much. Zix is not per se the head coach in my own personal opinion anymore. I feel like the head coach for TSM now is Peter Zhang, because you really do feel like that at one point. So they picked up Zix from CLG, and then basically, not trying to say this is the case, in a year under, they became CLG of 2018. You know, I don't even know how that is just statistically and fathomably anything possible. I feel like that looking at it in a realm of this was a good pick, and I personally feel like he deserved the coach of the split for spring. I don't know how things panned out in the summer for him, but it does feel like that they need a complete structural staff retool as well. 4 new players for TSM. I feel like you need a structural overhaul of the entire roster. Maybe Peter can stay if he feels like he can, tune the roster in any way possible, shape and form that he feels like he can. It really does feel like Zix isn't even the head coach anymore. It feels like he didn't really get a chance to, have the full do with his, coaching role per se, because of what happened in spring. And it's really weird that he got his chance to prove himself in spring, but then realistically never got the same treatment in summer, maybe because of things not working out. Maybe they thought that it was his fault overall in the drafting phase. A lot of his drafts have been called into questions, but I think that the pickup for Zix was good and bad. I also feel like that it worked out to a similar note, but then it started to come crashing down when you realize that Zix's overall way that he looks at the game has leaked into the teams that he's been on. And with CLG, we saw how it massively, affected them over the years that he was on the team personally. So I think that moving into 2020, before I go into other stuff that is completely different with TSM in like later videos, this is just kind of the touching it from the surface level, is 4 new players if you want to keep Bjergsen, because he's the franchise player on TSM. 4 new players, I know, crazy, right? Building around Bjergsen. Structural overhaul, coaches, analysts. It's just nothing's working out. It's not working out. Do not try it again. I will literally eat people alive if they tell me to do it again. That is the dumbest thing that you could do, is do any of this again. We know in life, time is valuable. Time is so precious to us all. Life could be over tomorrow. So why waste more time trying the same thing over and over and over and over and over again? Why not just do something else? I would respect you more if you failed trying something new than if you failed trying the same thing you already tried before. Last thing I will say that I forgot to cover in this video before I close out is their playstyle. They've never adapted. They've never adapted to anything. They constantly play passive, scale up, wait till the enemy makes mistakes. They've been very open about their playstyle. It's not debatable. Do not tell me it's not. It's clearly talked about in their own videos, in their own subreddit, and by the players themselves. I don't think you can out-talk. I don't think you can literally say that all 3 of those factors are wrong. What I will say is you have to understand that their playstyle is just not good anymore. The game has changed. It's not. I'm sorry to people who are living in Season 4, Season 5 nostalgia. It is not Season 4 and Season 5 is not 2014. It is not 2015 anymore. You need to change, okay? It's ridiculous. This is like this is literally child mentality, Change your playstyle. Cloud9 did it. TL, yes, TL do the same things relatively, but at least they change stuff here and there to kind of give them that edge that needs to be changed. I can name you several teams in EU that have changed their playstyle. They don't. People say, "Oh well, isn't Splice the same way?" Oh no. If you've actually watched Splice games, they completely changed their playstyle. They failed at it. I can respect them for it. At least they changed it when they know it wasn't working out. TSM has constantly did this for years. Change your goddamn playstyle. It's not working out. Scaling up, passive. That don't work. That doesn't work. That does not work anymore. Come on. Like that could work in theory if you have Faker someday freaking Tarzan, Deft, bot lane, Layhan support. Okay, a team like that could pull that off. Not a team like them. I just don't feel like they've really realistically ever so wanted to change. Like, I remember a clear distinction as to why they never wanted to change. In 2017 Worlds, how did Cloud9 get out of their group in that one game that they needed to win to clinch the group? Yes, they picked the Caitlyn against HQ and they got out of the group because they chose to adapt at the key moment you needed to adapt. TSM did not want to adapt. That's why they failed in that group. It wasn't because their players were just that much worse than everybody in that group. That was the easiest group in the tournament they were in. That was the easiest group in the tournament. Team World Elite, Flash Wolves, who went 1-5. TSM was the only team to drop a game to them. If they beaten Flash Wolves in that second rematch that they had against them, TSM would have gotten out of the group because they would have had 4 wins. They would have clinched the group. Then, as you guys know, World Elite beat Misfits in that Lucian game where Lucian 1v1'd Power of Evil's Cassiopeia. TSM got out of the group. But since they refused to adapt, they lost their group stage. And I feel really sad that they just fathomably can't adapt. I understand they're hardcore meta slaves, and I'll break down fans and all that other stuff in my podcast coming up this week. But these are just things that I've been wanting to boil up and talk about for a very, very long time with TSM. Obviously, you guys know I'm in my fresh Cloud9 jersey. People like, do you still like Cloud9? Yes, I love Cloud9. Cloud9 are my boys. They're my boys. I love me some lesbian sneaky. I love me some sexy mexy licorice. But yes, G2 Cloud9 fan here. Obviously, hashtag wear the 9. Yes, I'm always gonna wear the 9. You guys know that obviously, but since this was more or less an LCS video, kind of want to give that little LCS flair. I might actually get a FlyQuest jersey. The FlyQuest jerseys to me look really, really sick, like, my kind of color. I like black and stuff like that. So I'll see you guys later. Someone had actually asked me in a video to talk about Bjergsen and moving to a new team, so I was like, hey, why not do that, and then why not just talk about other issues that I've seen with their organization from time to time. So see you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe. Most of all, enjoy. I'm the Nightwing, and Wave Life Esports is signing out. Peace. You guys have a great freaking day.
Hi there, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more stuff.
Yeah, thank you.